Roger Casale, a former Member of Parliament from the Labour Party, is also the founder of the New Europeans think tank. He joins us now from Florence in Italy. Thank you so much for joining us, Roger. As we heard there from Simon, we are expecting an announcement from Prime Minister Boris Johnson imminently. He's expected to announce his resignation, but it won't take effect until about the autumn, later this year. What do you make of this outcome?
Well, you'll see from the smile on my face that it's a welcome outcome. I think he's done the right thing at long last. And I think it also shows you that the British Constitution is quite strong. The British Prime Minister is very powerful. But if you have a rotten apple, which is, I'm afraid, what we have with Boris Johnson, the constitutional mechanisms are there to get him out. I think it's a pity that he's staying on as Prime Minister until the autumn, because I think the legacy that Boris Johnson will leave is pretty disastrous. Britain outside the European Union, you've mentioned yourself the economic situation, which is very weak, and the prospects are very poor. And he leaves not just a political mess, but an economic and a social mess behind him when he goes. And the sooner a new Prime Minister is appointed to start to get the country on the right track, the better. But I'm not sure where that new Prime Minister will come from. We don't know who it will be, and they won't be in place until later in the year.
What do you make of the performance of Labour's current leader, Sir Keir Starmer? A lot of the pundits have given him credit for taking the Conservative Party to this point, for really grilling the Prime Minister over multiple scandals. Do you think that Sir Keir Starmer should take some credit at this point in time?
I think the Labour Party has demonstrated a degree of gravitas which was missing from the Prime Minister and the Conservative government. And so I think he has performed well. And I think there's been a contrast, which won't be lost to people, between the seriousness of his approach and what we've seen from the Prime Minister. But, let's remember that we knew about Boris Johnson for a long time. It's not that we suddenly discovered that Boris Johnson was a liar. That was well known before he became Conservative leader and before he became Prime Minister. And this is not the first time that he has made this kind of terrible error of judgment. And let's remember there was Partygate, there were other things. And so I think there are lots of questions also for people in his cabinet, former members of the cabinet, for Conservative MPs, indeed for Conservative voters to answer about why it is that they supported Boris Johnson for so long. So I hope that Keir Starmer and the Labour Party will turn their fire onto not all Conservative MPs. Some have been critical and outspoken against Boris Johnson all along. But many of them, in fact, the majority up to now, have supported them. And they need to explain why they have not abandoned their support for Boris Johnson a long time ago.
Even before Boris Johnson has actually officially announced his resignation, there's a lot of talk about who might succeed him. Is there anyone, in your point of view, who would fit the bill from the Conservative Party? Setting aside the fact that you are from the opposition, but is there an obvious candidate from among the ranks of the Tories?
Well, I'm no longer a member of the Labour Party. I'm independent of the Labour Party, and I won't join the Labour Party again until it adopts an equivocal pro-European position. So I can speak as an independent. I would say that the two standout candidates are the two who resigned first, Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid. But I'm sure there'll be lots of people putting their names into the ring. And again, this will be a distraction from the real problems and the challenges that the country faces, which are severe. Top of the list, the economic challenges, the rise in the cost of living that you referred to. But of course, Europe is at war, and we need to have Britain needs to show a strong face to the world in terms of its security.
Okay, Roger Casale, we'll have to leave it there, but we really appreciate your analysis. Thank you again for joining us on TRT World.
Very much.